toilet. Like, you know, it was like, for most people, when, you know, babies come in, there's nothing blocking. They're just present. They ask for what they want through crying, and they smile when they want. And they're just fully present, and they're not thinking about what's they don't have. So that gets programmed into us, and we get programmed by what our and our limits are set. So it's like an inner thermostat. So imagine if your inner thermostat is turned to, say, 70. You got to, let's say your house needs to turn to 70 degrees, and when it gets hotter than 70, that thermostat kicks on and brings the temperature back to 70 degrees. Now that's great, like when you're in your house and you want to keep temperate. But imagine that our subconscious mind has also this inner thermostat. And as soon as we start allowing in more good, more success, more love, if we don't have an internal program that matches that level of receptivity, receiving, worthiness, self-love, if that starts to be a little bit higher than our thermostat, unconsciously, we can't receive it. We cannot receive it in unless we have the mental equivalent, the subconscious alignment that says I can receive that in. And it doesn't matter who we are, how successful, what our ability is in love. There's always something. There's always something that's like the next level. And it could be for you, wherever you're at. I personalize this for wherever you are. I'm going to tie in a lot to love. I'm using the word love, clearing the blocks to love. And that is clearing the blocks to loving relationship, romantic relationships, family relationships. And also what love is love is actually our zone of genius showing up and manifesting, and we're not afraid, and love gets to show up without blocks. So that's the goal. That's the goal for us, is to be able to go to the next level, to be able to express that zone of genius and be able to do that. So it's like, how much love can I let in? We know how much love we can let in by looking with wide open eyes in our life. How much love can I let in? How much success can I let in? Do I have a certain level of success, and that every time I get to a certain place, it's like that's all I can let in, or I have to work so hard to be able to maintain it? So I like to help us work on our inner life, work on the subconscious beliefs so that we can expand our ability to receive, expand our ability to know who we are, to expand our ability constantly and forever, evolving to be one that can experience more life. Would that be all right with you? Good. All right. So let's look at this idea, the number one human disease. Are you ready? And it's likely that you have it at some way, and it's really likely that people you know have it. And that is that human disease that says, I'm not enough. I'm not enough, or I'm not worthy. And that's simply a result of being raised with conditional love. And that's all that all of us were really raised with. I love you if you do this. Not so much, or I withdraw it, even if you're still completely loved. Love is withdrawn, and a child doesn't know the difference. So we grow up with this certain thermostat about how much we can let in. And so at this certain level, it's like, I'm not enough. So it can manifest. I heard this story. I love watching YouTube. I love watching other speakers, and then I apologize if I can't quote them exactly. But this therapist, hypnotherapist, was telling this story, and she talks a lot about this human disease of I'm not enough. And so she was telling the story that she was called in to work with a mega superstar actor. And he wouldn't go on the set, and the producers are having so many troubles. So she's called in, like, you do something. That's the only time they call in alternative practitioners, when everybody can't do anything with them, right? So that's all right. So she goes in, and she couldn't even park her car on the same street. He only allowed like Porsches and Bentleys and Mercedes and high-end cars to be parked. And she had a Mustang. She had to park it down the street. She goes into his house, and he's condemning and criticizing, I don't know why you're here. Nobody can help me. You know, and she's complimenting on his house. I go, this old thing, no, I hate this house. And then she says, in fact, I don't even like you that much. You look like my ex-wife. And she was such a problem. And I've had 4 ex-wives, and they're all problems. And she's looking at him, and finally she goes, do you know what your problem is? You know, he's like, she says, you don't think you're enough. And he went on to tell the story of how when he grew up very poor. He grew up in a trailer park, and his father did construction or odd jobs, actually. And the mother was a nighttime nurse. And his job, when he was just a little boy, when his dad came home, he had to cook a big dinner for him, but his dad would not share the food with him. He had to like go have cereal in the corner. And it was treated like he was never given anything. And he says, you know, when he told that story, he just started to cry. This big, successful, powerful man started to cry because that little boy never felt like he was enough and that he wasn't deserving and worthy. And so, of course, he went on to be very successful because, damn, he's not going to have that be his life. He's going to do something else. But underneath all of that money and fame and everything was that core belief that says, I'm not enough. And so that I'm not enough sometimes shows up with, I've got to have this outside and massive shopping and doing this, and I've got to build this whole thing up. But underneath, I'm not enough. And so as soon as it exceeds that, the sabotage, the unhappiness shows up. It's also seen a lot as we talk about Valentine's Day in relationships. If a person only has a habit and a behavior and a belief system that they're not quite enough, they will keep picking partners who manifest the truth, the mirror back to them, I'm not enough. And pretty soon they get tired of even trying. And it's much easier just to stay alone than to try. But the solution to so many things is this idea of I'm not enough, and how we can really start to repattern and reprogram that to know I am more than enough. I am worthy of everything. I go from good to gooder and better to best. I am expanding in my ability to love and to receive and to serve in a way that I never knew was possible. And so we are willing to do that. And I think one thing that really helps to know is that to understand how your brain works and how mind works. Your brain likes what's familiar. Not only does it like what's familiar, it doesn't even hardly allow you to see what's unfamiliar. We must learn to make the desired unfamiliar familiar. What that means, it's like the ones that win the lottery, they have all this money, but that's not familiar to them. What's familiar is being broke. And so the brain is constantly looking for what's the same and finding ways to come back to what's the same and what it knows. So unless there begins to be new neural networks, new conditioning, new ideas put repetitively into the subconscious, and really wiring the brain in a different way, we can only see out of the eyes of the familiar. So seeing out of the eyes of the familiar perpetuates the familiar. And for us that want to expand in greater capacities in every way, we have to start being the captain of the ship. We have to be the one that is going to consciously choose to make the unfamiliar familiar. In other words, train our eyes, train our mind, train ourselves to see. So this teacher looked at this young man, he wasn't that young, and she gave him an assignment. First of all, she walked in his house and walked through his house and went to his bathrooms and took her lipstick out of her purse and wrote big on the mirror, "I am enough." And went into all the mirrors that she could and wrote, "I am enough." She took his phone, she programmed it to wake him up in the morning saying, "I am enough," and put sticky notes all around the house. And his assignment was to say, "I am enough," to get that like a mantra so put into his mind over and over and over, "I am enough," to train the brain to think it by itself. Now, when the brain starts to believe that and that becomes wired, now it's the reticulating ocular system that's now, it's like a heat fire missile. It's like looking for the target. It's looking for evidence that you are enough. So, but it's not, before it's looking for evidence that you're not enough. So this guy did that, like all over, and he just decided, you know, "I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, I am enough." And pretty soon he started to believe that. She saw him 6 months later, and he went up to her and he says, "You can't even imagine what's happened to me." First of all, he says, he's lost 40 pounds. And he says, "I'm dating a hairdresser and she's wonderful, and I have a normal life and she's wonderful, and I don't have to change how people park on my street." And he liked himself the way he was, and he was a completely different man. And when someone, and I've totally seen it in myself, and I've seen it with people that I work with, it takes a massive amount of repetition in the beginning to start to establish a new belief system, and working with the subconscious in a hypnotic state, or in a trance state where you're actually able to access the subconscious. And also before you go to sleep, when you go to sleep at night, your subconscious mind is working on whatever you've been thinking about when you go to bed. And so it's like to say, "I am enough, I am worthy," 1,000 times a day, and to place that on the mirror and to say it before you go to sleep begins to change the things in us so that we can just begin to see the changes around us. It doesn't start outside, it starts inside. To know, I am enough. I am worthy. Like wherever you are right now, wherever you are, say that and see how that feels. Now, a lot of people may think, "Oh, I know I'm enough." And you really may have a really deep core belief system of your worthiness, and that's great. But there's somebody you know that doesn't. And this might be a message that you can help them with. Just take your lipstick, go right on the bathroom mirror, right? So that it's like, so that we can begin to live. So the mind doesn't care what you tell it. It doesn't say, "That's not true," and that is true. The mind does not care. You can tell it you're not enough, or you can tell it you're more than enough. I want you to understand how powerful your mind is. Wherever you are right now, when you're listening to this, I want you to imagine right now, like with me, I want you to hold a big, juicy lemon in your hand. It's cut in half. It's half a lemon in your hand. If you can, put your hand out right now. That lemon is, you can smell it. Smell that lemon. And then I want you to put it up to your mouth and take a bite of that lemon. Just sink your teeth into it and just pull out the flesh of that lemon and chew on that lemon now. And suck out the juice. That's right. and just taste how that feels. And the thing is you're not really holding a lemon. You're telling your mind you're holding a lemon, but you're salivating. Your body's actually changing because of your mind. Our body changes because of our mind. Our life changes, but not just one time of looking at it. And this is the other thing, if I would have said, just pretend you're, just say, I'm sucking on a lemon, I'm sucking on a lemon, I'm sucking on a lemon. Eventually it'd probably make you pretend you're sucking on it, but it doesn't do the same as if you're really doing it. You are in it. I am sucking on that lemon. So as we go into our week and as we go into this hypno process, I want you to understand how powerful it is. I want you to understand how powerful your mind is. And if we're not choosing who's the captain of this ship, and if we're not choosing, then our conditioning is choosing for us, and our environment is choosing for us. And it's really easy to stay under that thermostat and not be able to go above that. So a hypno process, which we're going to do in a minute, a hypno process, I want you to understand this if I can help you to see. If you were sitting right now across from me in my office and you'd just paid me $500 to do a hypno process with you, and we were able to talk about things and get right down into where you are, you would begin to see the value of this. And when you left, you would have had a shift. And then you would go home and do the homework. In other words, write it on the mirror and really focus on your core belief that you're going to establish. Because you had paid, because it was valuable to you and you knew it was valuable. I want you to take that attitude right now. Because your intention and your attitude and to know how valuable this is, so that you allow yourself to have a transformational experience. Because this is your brain, this is your mind, this is your life. And you are the one that decides what value and how much transformation. And so set that in your mind, set that intention. As we start to wind our relaxation down to start to be fully here, to move into an experience. So as we begin, no matter where you are, I invite you to relax. Now, even if you are out walking when you're listening to this, if you can take a moment and sit down and close your eyes, it would be so much better. But if you're driving or if you're walking, you can tune a part of your awareness into this and tell yourself to simply listen to my voice so that you can begin to relax and be very present no matter what you're doing, because your mind is going to stay very alert. And as you listen to my voice, you will begin to relax. Now we're going to do this process, and I would like to be able to talk to your subconscious mind if it's all right with you. And your subconscious can reveal to you and talk to you, so that this is a process that you do with yourself. And we will intentionally look at this one belief the belief of I'm not enough or I'm not worthy. And as I lead this, I know that your own inner knower will guide you to exactly the place and the point that needs to be released and is willing to be released right now in order for you to open up to the next level of love, to open up to the next level of love's expression, to open up to the next level of living more from your genius. So begin to relax, and if your eyes are still open and you can look into my eyes in the screen, then do that. Just begin to gaze, and if you can't do that, then just look at a point off in space. And as you gaze at one point, you may find that your eyes want to blink. You may find that your eyes blink a couple of times, or even 3 times. And pretty soon your eyelids begin to get so heavy that they just gently begin to close. Begin to be aware of your breath and start to settle into this moment, allowing all of your attention just to be centered within you and to listen to my voice. And allow my voice to keep bringing you back. Keep bringing you back away from the busy, rambling nature of the mind. To keep bringing you back into your center. Noticing the gentle inflow and outflow of the breath. And feeling your eyelids getting heavier and heavier. And feeling your body getting more and more relaxed. That wherever you're sitting, feeling the chair, feeling the ground underneath you, settling into a place of deep relaxation. That's right. That's right. And now I'm going to count from 5 to 1. And as I count to 5 to 1, you might even want to imagine that you're walking down some stairs. And as you walk down each stair, you get even more relaxed, very connected to your own internal voice and your own internal knower. And so going down to 5, and more relaxed, 4. Feeling your breath sinking even deeper. Going down the next step to 3. And the next step to more and more relaxed. And to 1. And 0. And then just imagine yourself being very relaxed. We're going to have an internal conversation. And I want you just to ask yourself, when was the first time you started to believe that maybe you weren't enough, or maybe not quite worthy to have what you wanted? And if you even could imagine just kind of floating over your life and going back and back and back and back And then trusting any memory whatsoever that came up for you, as far back as you can remember. Just trusting your unconscious mind to give that to you. When you received a message that you weren't enough somehow. Just trusting your own inner knower to take you there. And imagine you're floating over that. It's like you're floating over and you're looking down at this younger you. And you can see the whole circumstance. And as you look down upon him or her, you can observe this situation from a higher viewpoint. And then just float right over the top. And if you're still not sure what that is, just trust yourself. Right now, you have a memory. And then just knowing you're completely safe, just gently float right down into the body of that younger self now. And now float up. Just float up again, float up. And then looking towards your past, just keep going back in your past before that situation even happened. And then I want you to turn completely around. You're looking towards the now, and you can look down and see that younger you. You may have even noticed that any yucky feelings may have disappeared because you have good perspective. And as you look down on this child, I want you to tell them what you know they need to hear so that they can really believe that they are enough and that they are worthy. You're coming from the higher adult self, the one that has such good perspective. Tell that child right now, they are enough. Say, you are enough. You are more than enough. You are worthy of everything. Tell them that over and over and over again. That's right. That's right. Just tell them that. And now looking towards the now, I want you just to go ahead and float over them and just tell them that they are more than enough. And it's like you're going to start to unravel this belief that was picked up long time ago. You can imagine yourself holding on to like a thread or a rope as you're traveling over your whole life right now. And just come back very slowly and take hold of that thread and pull on it. Like you're pulling on a sweater that's got a thread that's out, and you're going to unravel the whole sweater by pulling on this yarn or thread. So as you're floating over your entire childhood, everything after that experience, start unraveling that thread, unraveling that belief of all that experience, belief, everything that affected that didn't serve you in the highest way. Just go ahead and start unraveling that and move, floating over your entire life, just floating over, and just see all the different situations that you went through that maybe you didn't believe you were good enough or enough, and just unravel that whole memory. Just pull the thread on that and unravel that memory. Just unravel it. It's all right, because you're turning in and telling it something else, and you're saying you are more than enough. As you're floating above that, floating back to the now, unraveling that thread, pulling that thread so beautifully, unraveling, you are saying you are more than enough. You are worthy of everything. You are more than enough. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are more than enough. Unraveling that thread, continuing to pull. See all the other situations that happen in your life, in your childhood and your young adult life, and bring you all the way up to the place where you are right now. Begin to feel the release that starts to happen. Unraveling that thread, unraveling all the little intricacies that built upon that. That's right. And now looking into your future, move into your future, and now fully anchored. That whole thing is unraveled, and now you're clear. I want you to say to your future self now, you are more than enough. You are breaking through limits. You are your genius self. You are worthy. You deserve love more than ever before. You are worthy of love and everything good. And now float over your future and float over your future self. Just float over your future self, looking down upon your future self. See that future self fully anchored in this knowing that they are more than enough. And see with your mind's eye how they are expressing the more than enough attitude in love, money, success, family, art. And then just fall down right into your future self and fully integrate that. Say that I am that. I am more than enough. Be in your future self, fully having integrated that into every cell of your body through the unconscious mind, knowing your unconscious mind integrates this at every level, making the unfamiliar familiar now, saying that I am enough. I am worthy. I am love. You are integrating that right now into every cell of your body. Now moving that, taking that future you fully integrated, you are fully integrated in the more than enough, bringing that right back to this now, coming right back down into your body, feeling that now in your body, integrating that, repeating it again and again. I am enough. I am worthy. We're going to begin, and I'm going to count upwards. And this time I'm going to count up to 10 before we come out of this, because you are going higher than when you started. And so go counting up those stairs now, climbing those stairs, go up to 1, integrating into the subconscious mind, I am enough, integrating that right now. You are integrating it. It is integrated into every part of your life. 2, 3, even more integration, feeling much more alive, feeling much more vibrant, feeling fantastic. 4, 5, feeling yourself right at the place that you were when you began this process, and how wonderful to know that you're ending it much higher, climbing that next step. 6, going even higher into expression, into love, in the ability to receive. 6, 7, 8, even higher, feeling vibrant, feeling alive, feeling completely confident and capable, knowing that you are here for life. Life is here for you. 7, 8, 9, fully integrated every part. And when you go to 10, you will fully awaken, alert and alive, integrated, constantly taking that next step up to level 10. You are awake, aware, alive, feeling fantastic, integrating this, imagining yourself fully alive, knowing that you are enough and more than enough and worthy of the best, living from your zone of genius at a higher level of experience and expression, integrating that right now, feeling it now, eyes wide awake, wide open, coming right here, right back to this moment, right here with me. Now, good, taking a deep breath, breathing that in. And imagining what it can be like for you this week, and especially if you take on this assignment to make it familiar. Make it familiar. And so you're making this familiar by integrating this belief in a different way, writing on your mirror, I am enough. I am more than enough. I am worthy. Do what resonates with you. Write it on the mirror, put it on your phone, put it on sticky notes, put something by your bed to remind you that that is what you go to bed with. You go to bed with, I am enough. And you wake up with, I am enough. And you begin to make the unfamiliar so familiar that every part of your being is like shooting out, looking for opportunities and allowing it to come in, because you are living at the higher level. So think about what you can do this week to make the unfamiliar familiar in a bigger way. And I know that what we've just done is very powerful. And you are the only one that has the ability to make it valuable in your life and inside of you. So you're the one that decides that. And I'm grateful that you were here. And I'm grateful that you're helping to be here and support this type of free content for whoever wants to log on. Now, your unconscious mind, we run completely on donations. I invite donations. The thing is that your unconscious mind doesn't let you receive if you don't have some sort of exchange and gift and show that this is valuable to you. And so I'm going to have Craig will put a link in the chat box. And what's helpful is maybe just click on the link. It'll open a browser, but stay with us as we close up. And I want to say thank you to our ongoing members that have been helping us get started and supporting this with Craig, and Katoto is our newest member. Thank you, Katoto, so much. And the Bjerkes and Steve and Lucinda and Tambra and Richard, Ruth and Cherie and so many more that are really helping to support this. And it's my intention to give really quality content that can change consciousness. So thank you for supporting me and helping me do that. I really appreciate it. And please, I invite you to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe, and you can listen to this at other times, or you can have somebody else listen to it. Share, if you could, share with somebody else that they can start to say this, I am enough, and that they can listen to this and share the recording. You can also go to iTunes and search for Soul Soup Podcast, and all this will be up within a day that you can listen to it on audio only on the podcast. So thank you so much for helping to spread the word and share. And if anybody feels they need more personal work, I'm definitely available for that we can move some stuff out really quickly. So I love helping people move through some of that so that they can live more higher, fabulous, wonderful, free lives. Awesome. All right, so thank you. And thank you, Craig, for putting that in the link. And you can click on it and come back to it later. I'll send you a link later. I appreciate you being here. And I'd love to now just open up to anybody that wants to say anything, share any part of their experience, or just say something. It's wonderful to feel a little bit sense of community here. And if you're willing to get your video on, that's even better. We don't care what you look like. The fact that you are here, you are enough.